I walk through the kitchen and I get ready to walk to the next room, and the guy showing me around is like, stop, that's my room. What? This is your room. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because this is the hallway. And he was like, no, it's not a hallway. No, this a railroad apartment. And I was like, sir, I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana. We have railroad houses. I understand the setup. And this is not a railroad apartment because it has quite a lot of corners. A lot of twists and turns to get to other rooms. This is not a railway apartment. This is a hallway. And then he's like, yeah, but I mean, this is the setup. Like, I'm already in this room, and then other guys in the other room, and then other guys in the other room. So that really it's you. Now I didn't know what to do. I had already paid the money. And I didn't have, because the person I paid the money to wasn't there. So then I'm like, it's either stay here or come up with a little bit of money to get like a hotel room or something. It just didn't make sense. So I was like, okay, I guess I live in the hallway. And so I set my stuff down, and they were like, oh yeah, I know that there was a bed in the picture. And in my head, I was like, how do you know there was a bed in the picture? I thought you were also subletting. It's like, I know there was a bed in the picture, but you could do what I did when I first moved to New York. You could go ahead, go to Target or something, get one of those air mattresses, and just keep returning it before the warranty is up. And immediately I took a step back. I was like, sir, you scam air mattresses? I don't feel safe here at all. He's like, yeah, and if you returned it every 2 weeks, you can keep it brand new. I was like, oh, all right, I'll look into that. And the first night, when I moved to New York, I got here in like the afternoon, was immediately devastated by my living situation, but then went out and went to shows, went to as many shows as I could. And then it came time to come back to my hallway. And I was standing there for a second. I was looking around. I was like, you know what? No. You got to draw the line somewhere. And so I went into the living room and I slept on the couch. The couch is all right. And some time passed. We all got along pretty well, except for one dude. There was one dude that kept eating my food and trying to blame a dog that did not exist in this apartment. I came back one day, and like the bagel I had just left on the counter was gone. And so I was like, hey, does anybody know what's happening? This is crazy now. Like, what's going on? He comes out of his room and he's like, oh, that doggone dog came in here? I was trying to wrestle it from him, but I could still see like poppy seeds on his lips. It's like, did you wrestle it with your mouth? And then after like 3 weeks, they tried to hold an intervention with me. Yeah, with me. The person not pretending there's a dog in the apartment. And this is the thing, this is what bothers me. Okay, obviously it sucks that, he stole some of my food and that he lied about it and everything, but then just to try to keep the lie up, he would make random dog noises in the apartment. Which only gives you more explaining to do. He'd be in the apartment, in the living room, I'd be in my hallway. I'd hear him. And then obviously I come into the living room to see what type of dog keeps eating my bagels. And it would just be him. Sitting there like, he just ran out. No, they sat me down to have an intervention with me, and they were like, you've been making everybody uncomfortable. Because you've been sleeping on the couch this entire time, and the couch is really more of a communal space. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. Ooh, I see where you're coming from. Because you know what's also a communal space? The hallway I live in. Even being here for things like the snow, like I'm from Louisiana, so snow is still majestic to me. Whenever it really snows heavy, I'm like, wow, look at it coming down all slow. I still do that thing where I try like trace snowflakes all the way down, make yourself real dizzy. No, snow is incredible. Except for here. Don't get me wrong, it could be beautiful. If it's gonna be like a real blanket of snow and it's gonna stick, then yes, everything's covered in white, it's gorgeous. If it's just kind of snowing, if it's just lightly snowing, if it's just sleeting a little bit, it is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my entire life, because it hits the ground, it immediately disappears. It goes into some sort of camouflage mode that's just made for slipping. It'll cake up a little bit, but then it gets all black and gray and brown, and then it starts like getting holes in it. Looks like a monster that's coming to eat you. You gotta have your wits about you at all times. You walking in this slippery, sleety snow. Because if you fall, you have fallen into wet New York. Nothing will make you want to die faster than having wet New York on your back. And everybody know you got wet New York on your back, because even when you get up, look, I hope you can get up. I pray you can get up. Because once you fall, watching you get up would be like a deleted scene from Home Alone, because the ground doesn't make it easy and no one helps you. Nobody helps you. Everybody will go, ooh. Nobody gets close. Nobody throws a hand out because they don't want you to bring them down, because that's exactly what you'll do. I tried to help somebody once. It was tiny. This tiny man. Taking these itty bitty steps. You knew he didn't want to fall, because you knew he might as well have been 200 feet in the air the way he was looking at this. He was taking weird turns for no reason. He was like, avoid that, no. No, he was taking rights and lefts like he was driving. And then this man took one step. Just took this one step. And as soon as he put his foot down, he was like, oh. The amount of backwards he flew was unfair for how light the step was. I'm I'm not a physicist, but I imagine that if you gonna slip, if you gonna slip like a Looney Tune, you should have been running. Like the way, the fact that this man took such a small step and then he looked up in the clouds, facing the clouds, and then landed. And this man landed, and we didn't even go, ooh, we went, because we were sure he was gone. That fall was up there when like somebody in their 90s take a nap. Because the way he was rested, we were like, because you land on your back, you need to gather yourself. You can't just get up right away. You gotta make sure your soul's still in your body. This man hit the ground, was just staring up at the sky. I was like pretty close to him, a couple other people were pretty close to him, and we were all looking over like, we thought, the others, no one said anything, but I could tell for like 6 seconds, we all thought he passed with his eyes open. Because he was over here looking. And then after a little while, this man blinked. And we were like, oh, thank goodness. I don't think my day could have handled a body. And so then I go to help him up. I'm like, ooh, sir, are you all right? Are you okay? And he didn't say anything, he just kept blinking. Then finally, he like saw my hand, he stuck his hand up. And I don't even really feel like I had time. I didn't really have time to grab his hand. I feel like as soon as our fingertips touched, he was like, ha! And you know how you gotta be careful when you trying to, when somebody's drowning and you're trying to save them, sometimes they could fight so hard that they drown you. You know, they over here pushing you down, trying to stay above the water and everything. As soon as I touched this man's hand, he pulled me down in a way that wasn't pragmatic at all. Like, I didn't have my bearings, I didn't have my knees bent, ready to lift him up or anything. He just pulled as hard as he could, and for as little as he was very strong. He was very strong, and admittedly, I'm pretty light. And so as soon as he pulled me, I could feel the whole thing happen. I could feel my hand. I was like, sir, are you all right? And stuck my hand out. And I swear it happened in slow motion. I swear. The way I tried to scream no before my face touched the ground. Face first. This man pulled me so hard, I hit the ground like I fell out of the sky. And now we both there, laying there, drowning. Everybody saw what happened to me, everybody else backed up. Everybody was like, ooh, 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 ooh. And now I'm over here fighting to get up. I swear I know how to do push-ups. But there's something about how slippery the ground is in New York, where even when you think you're doing a perfect push-up, you end up just, whoop. 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 Finally, he and I, as a team, used each other to get up. It wasn't easy, and it took forever. I remember because we were both at least like, okay, if we get back to back, we should at least be able to sit up. I remember sitting on the ground and then turned to him like, you ready? We finally make it back to our feet. Nobody helped us. And we were covered in wet New York. That ruined my entire week. I think I got some of it in my mouth. It's one of the most disgusting experiences you can have. I remember I thought I was somewhat ready. When moving to New York, I thought, okay, you know, they have a bus system. I'm living in Chicago. I'm used to a bus system, used to a train system, you know, like I just got to figure out the schedule, got to figure out my routes and stuff. I should be okay. It was very different than if I had moved straight to New York from Louisiana. You know, I had a little bit of an adjustment, so it wasn't as much of a culture shock. But I wasn't ready for some of the versions of the things here. I took the bus in Chicago, took the bus all the time, but Chicago's on like a grid system. You know, you take this bus, it's gonna go that way. Forever. It'll go that way till you're not in Chicago anymore. You take the bus here. To be fair, it's different in the city. Sometimes in the city, it's pretty straightforward. It's just like here to over here, and it's gonna be miles long or whatever. But taking the bus in Brooklyn, that's the most like carpooling I've ever felt on public transportation. There was a couple buses I would take when I first moved here, when I was like getting my bearings and everything, and I got to know some of the people. You know, on my bus rides, I got to know some of the bus drivers. You know, I remember one who was training, and I could tell he was training because this wasn't the bus route. I try not to be that person. I really, like, genuinely, I try not to be a know-it-all because, look, I don't know everything, and there are plenty of times where I think I know something and then I end up looking stupid. But I do go home every day. One thing I do every day is go home, and so I'm used to the general look of on the way home. And this bus is on my way home, but this bus is not going towards my home at all. I'm seeing new restaurants. I'm seeing I'm looking out the window and something is wrong. None of the familiar checkpoints, none of them. Also, people keep pulling and he's not stopping. We on the bus, everybody kidnapped. Everybody. I'm looking out the window, I'm not seeing anything I'm used to seeing. I'm like, either gentrification is moving at lightning speed, or we are not on the route home. And finally, somebody said something. Somebody said something. Somebody was like, because you never know, you want to be respectful, but you don't even know what to say. You don't even know what to go, Mr. Bus Driver? Mr. Bus Driver, I don't think we on the way home. Didn't respond right away. Kept trying. Mr. Bus, I don't think this is the right way. I take it every day, and I don't think we're going the right way, and we also haven't seen any of the stops. Because what I tell you, we are not seeing bus stops. We're not on a different route by accident. There's no way to get off. And then this man over here, huh? And I'll tell you one thing that genuinely makes me very angry. It actually really bothers me, is when somebody thinks that the only thing to do when they don't know what to do, the thing that shows strength, the manliest thing to do is just double down. That you could convince me against reality. Like, there's something manly about pretending not to be wrong even when you're wrong. You know? And I'm sitting here on the bus, and this man is over here, huh? You could hear from the panic in his voice, he knew. I don't think we're going the right way. No, we on the way. Well, just in case, maybe you'll let one of us put you back on the right way with some Google Maps. Imagine standing at the front of the bus. No, you're gonna want to take a left here. I love taking the bus though, because I do enjoy bus drama. You always catch people, because the bus, nobody's on the bus for that long, so all the drama that you overhear or all the drama that you witness is like the middle of the story. It's always like a small little pocket. I was taking the same bus for months and got to know one of the bus drivers, and there was this one day I get on the bus. 2 stops later, this woman gets on the bus, arm in arm with this man, walks right up to a bus driver, puts the Metro card in. This is back when they had Metro cards. Put the Metro card in, take it back, looks at him and goes, "Hello, Harold." I couldn't pull my AirPods out fast enough. Because Harold looking shook. This is origin story stuff. "Hello, Harold. How you doing?" "I'm good." Saying, "I want you to meet my new man. His name's Ethan." And Ethan's standing there like he didn't know that this is why they took the bus. Like Ethan not trying to flex on Harold at all. He looked very confused. Like, and then she takes a little turn to start walking down towards the seats. It's like, right after she says, "This is my new man, Ethan," she's like, "We're headed back to his place." Look, 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 look. Listen to me. I understand that, like, as men, we haven't been great, you know, throughout history and stuff. But it is diabolical. It is clear and present evil to make your ex-boyfriend drive you to your new boyfriend's house. That's crazy. It all happened so fast. She got off the bus. Hello, Harold. This is Ethan. We're going back to his place. He's an engineer. And poor Harold sitting there. Close the door. And you could tell he needed a second. He didn't hit the gas right away. You know, Ethan walking back there with this girl, and he clearly feels some type of way. Harold couldn't just let that go unanswered. No, he's about to drive them for his job back to Ethan's place. And he'd know where it was because they hit the... They pulled. Harold's sitting there and he rubbed his forehead real quick and then he turned, he was like, I don't know what kind of engineer he is taking the bus. Ethan was standing there like, what did I do? I didn't. When I moved to New York, there was a lot that I didn't know. Like, I didn't know, okay? I had no idea that when you went to the bodega, that there would be a cat. The first time I went to a bodega and I saw the cat, it was just me, I'm just being honest with you. I walked in, I was like, okay, unprofessional. Professional, we all got our pets, we all love our pets, but this is a place of business. People don't just bring their cat to the office. Had no idea that the bodega cat was there for a reason. I had no idea bodega cats were there for a reason until I walked into a bodega. That didn't have a cat. And I saw a rat. And I didn't just see a rat. I saw Mr. Rat. Because I walked down the aisle and I see this rat. And there was a time back in the day where there were only a few rats that were this brazen. They all used to be a little bit more skittish. Remember, pre-COVID, pre-COVID, you would see a rat, and that rat had the Christianity to run when it saw you see it. There used to be only a few brave rats, and now post-COVID, they're all pretty laid back. This was years ago when I moved here, but I saw this rat, and living in Chicago, even living in Louisiana, you expect when you see a mouse or a rat and you make your presence known, they're like, oh, gotta get out of here. No. I walked out, I see this rat sees me. This rat actually looked me up and down. And that's why I was like, oh, the cat. I see. I get it now. No, because you would see these bodega cats, not necessarily friendly, not always down for a little pet or anything. No. And they'll be perched up too. They always find somewhere that's comfortable for them. It doesn't matter where it is. It'll be on the snacks. It'll be on the saltines you need, but that's where they'll be perched up somewhere. They don't even meow right. First time I heard a bodega cat meow, it was over here. Had that little like quiet yawn. Went to open his mouth. I'm expecting to hear a little purr. Something sweet, you know? So, you know what I mean? Something subtle. Not at all. This bodega cat was over here. I was like, this is an uncle. This is this is crazy. No, I saw this bodega cat out there, perched up. And I turned the corner, and I saw a mouse. And I was like, in the same place. The cat was here. Mouse was there. Cat wasn't moving. I was like, okay, unprofessional, all right? You supposed to be at work right now. This. Oh. Like I get that they're there to serve a purpose, you know. The cat takes care of the rat. But then, different time, I was in bodega. We saw this cat perched up, getting real comfortable. Didn't see a rat in sight. I was like, okay, he's been busy. Doing his job. I'm getting my bagel. And then I hear this cat. And then this cat coughed up a hairball. And I was standing there like, I think I prefer the rat. This is crazy. What happened just now? Was there a cat in him? You know, sometimes one thing is a means to an end, but it's not the best thing either. It can still be pretty bad. Like when Trump grabbed Maduro, right? In case you're not familiar with Maduro, leader of Venezuela, who Trump went ahead and grabbed and kidnapped and brought here. And look, Maduro's terrible. Like, Maduro is actually horrible. Like, two things can be true. I think that as Americans, like living in the US, we want a story to be clear. We want a clear protagonist, antagonist. We want one good guy, one bad guy. We forget that sometimes you could have two villains. Because just because Maduro was bad doesn't mean you can't look at the way Trump would have grabbed him and go, ooh, not like that, That doesn't mean you want Maduro back in, but it's also, what is this? What have you done now? You know, Trump grabbed Maduro, and then he got that man in that federal detention center. He got him in the same federal detention center This is the same federal detention center that they kept Diddy. And look, Diddy wasn't there because he's been sentenced and everything, but whew, can you imagine? Can you imagine what that day would have been like for Maduro if he was? Like, imagine, you were the president. And then you just went to bed. Very stylish pajamas, by the way. You went to bed. Then you wake up, you getting grabbed. They bring you to Brooklyn. They bring you to Brooklyn. And imagine, I know it didn't happen this way, but pretend with me for a second. You get into this federal detention center and you see Diddy. Looking over like, oh no. You don't know him personally, but you've heard stories. And now you sitting there in like gin pop or whatever. Maybe you just trying to have lunch. And Diddy approach you. Diddy walks up to you, maybe stands over you, leans down and goes, I heard you got oil. And now you gotta disappoint them. Now you gotta get the message across, no, not that type of oil. and Diddy said some heinous Diddy type stuff. He said something like, well, slippery, slippery. They got Maduro in there. In the same places that they kept Tekashi 6ix9ine. If you don't know who Tekashi 6ix9ine is, he's a rapper, allegedly. And he's known for his tattoos, more tattoos than body. Also known for his antics on the street, how he's always involved in some beef or some drama or something like that. He's also known for his colorful hair, these grills, just his whole aesthetic. It's very unique. It's one of the reasons he got so popular. There really is nobody doing things the way that he did them. It's why he was such a phenomenon. And you're Maduro. And you look over and you see Tekashi 6ix9ine. You turn to somebody and you ask, who is that? You're like, oh, well, that's Tekashi 6ix9ine. And you're like, I feel like my English is pretty good. But I didn't understand anything you just said. You just said a word I've never heard with some numbers. Is he a robot? What happened to the other 68? No, this is the same place that they kept Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly, El Chapo. This is like a real-life Arkham Asylum. They got that man in there in the same place. They got Luigi Mangione. Whew. Wow. I don't know. You see things happen in prison all the time. You know, people talk about corruption. They talk about, it's a faulty facility. Conditions are bad and everything. And there's a lot of corruption in the prison system. And as long as there's corruption, maybe just leave Luigi alone with a 3D printer. Let him go to work for a little while. Just see what happens. We'll just turn the cameras off, They did it for Epstein. But yeah, Trump went and grabbed Maduro. And if you don't know, because I don't expect everybody to know, I feel like we in the U.S. are not always up on current events in other places, their systems of government and their leaders and everything. But Maduro, terrible. I can't stress this enough. This dude was willing to let 80% of his nation fall into poverty. A country that was rich in natural resources, but he was willing through corruption to let inflation get out of control. He wanted to seize and consolidate all of his power. He did everything to quell protest, and he But yeah, that's the dude that got him. Went and grabbed Maduro. And when you ask questions about what's next, because this is the other thing, this is why it's a sort of fool's errand to defend every one of Donald Trump's actions, because you'll see these people, whether they're pundits, whether they're senators, whether they're whatever, sycophants, whatever, they come out and they give some almost noble or some at least logical reason for this crazy thing that has happened. You know, they'll talk about what type of leader Maduro was, or how the people of Venezuela are living in this poverty. They'll give all these reasons why they went and grabbed him. But then Trump, unprovoked, will make a statement that undercuts everything that they said. They'll talk about bringing wealth back to the country, how this is the best possible thing for the United States and Venezuela, and that the president has the interests of the Venezuelan citizens and the U.S. citizens at heart completely. And then Trump will come out and be like, it was oil. I really just want that oil. Even now with Greenland. What is happening? No one knows what's happening. They're sending troops over there to Greenland. Like, you have people in the EU being like, we're just gonna send some people over to Greenland just to make sure. Meanwhile, Trump's over here, I'll slap tariffs on anybody that disagrees with what I'm doing in Greenland, which is like, I don't know, like the world? Like, people in Greenland aren't happy. People in Greenland are protesting. You know how much you gotta mess up to be protested in a country that you're not even in? Like, you... It's insane. And no one really knows what the plan is. And no one knows what his plan is. I actually think that he's talked about it a little bit too much, and he's a little too far gone to just do nothing. You know? He set himself on a path, and because he's the type of person that has a saved face, that never wants to look weak, and for him, strength is doubling down. Strength is just repeating yourself over and over again, even if it's wrong. Strength is just never correcting course, like a bus driver that doesn't know the route that he's going. Oh, it's infuriating. It's infuriating because we're on the bus. Like, we're on the bus. And we're looking out the window like, I don't recognize where any of this is going. This doesn't seem good at all. Greenland, the place with 60,000 people in it, we're really going after them. And he's saying, we need Greenland for national security. All right. What about the national security of Greenland? Do you know what I mean? It's something that he said his first term. His first term, he came out and he was like, I think we need Greenland. And we sort of let it go. We let it go because in his first term, he said a lot of things. You remember. It's almost too many to count. He came out in his first term and he was over here like, hey, look, hurricane come, drop a bomb in it. They don't know me, I'm DJT, all right? I'll drop a bomb in a hurricane, I don't care. Please, I wish a hurricane would. Please step to me, hurricane. Remember he had that chart. He had lots of charts, but there was one chart in particular he had of the path of a hurricane. And then he had drawn in marker the hurricane going somewhere else. And then everyone in the room was like, does he think he can control the hurricane with the marker? He's like, everyone said it was gonna go this way. It went this way. We were like, Mr. President, there are tens of thousands of residents that can attest that it did not go that way. The man was over here saying wild stuff. First term? Look, maybe we could address COVID by... clean it from the inside, you know what I mean? Like, let's try something. Stood in front of doctors and there was like, why don't we try cleaning it? See, y'all not even thinking like I'm thinking. Y'all not even on the level. Y'all over here, ooh, science, science, science. Y'all over here worried about microscopes. Let's look, let's really get to it. Let's really... Trust me. Trust me. Look. Take a couple sips. You'd probably be right as rain, probably. I don't know. I'm throwing out ideas. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think proactively. You know, you got them over here talking blah, 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 blah all day. I'm over here trying to help people. And then he caught it. I remember the day he caught it too. I was like, oh. He old. Isn't this bad? He caught it that he's old. What's gonna happen? I don't know if y'all remember that time, the way that it was unfolded, but when they announced it, I remember getting the notification on my phone, like, Trump got COVID. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. This is a time to listen to the science, Mr. President. I don't know if you're gonna live by your word, but the bleach right there. And then they pumped him full of whatever you need to survive it. They gave him that good stuff too, because remember he did a he did a walkout that night. Walked out, still on a balcony over here. Ripped his mask off, defiant, was standing there. So much happened first term. He looked at the sun. This man caught COVID and looked at the sun in the same time period. And looked. He looked at the sun like somebody who was told not to look at the sun. Looked up, they were like, Mr. President, don't look at the sun. They screamed it out loud. And he was like, tell him. No, so many wild things were said that first term. Non-stop. Felt like every day something was said. So yeah, of course, you miss Let's Take Greenland. That's like 3 p.m. on a random Wednesday. That doesn't stick out to you at all. I'm an adult now, and I'm one of the first generations of adults that got participation trophies. Like when we were kids, we were that first generation, like give everybody a trophy, build their confidence. But we were also the first generation that got attacked for getting participation trophies. But I didn't give myself the trophy. Do you know what I mean? Like I I didn't say I need a trophy. You wouldn't believe how disappointed I was when I found out there was a trophy store. I remember going there and just looking around. I was little, but I was like, wait a second. You can just get to say whatever you want. You don't even have to be good at, wow. You can just buy achievements. It doesn't seem right. You know? And I look at it this way. If you're a kid that was really good at something, and then at the end of the season or the end of the competition or something like that, everybody gets the same trophy. I could see that kid being upset because they're like, why did I work this hard to be so good and everybody gets the same thing that I get? I understand that argument, right? But I understand it coming from a kid. If you're the adult that's mad about it, but you don't even have like a kid that was competing, you just don't like the idea, you were never gonna get the trophy. That's weird to look at a kid you don't know and be like, they don't deserve it. Why do they get anything? It's like, oh no, that needs to be worked out in therapy. That's, oh jeez. Like when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to be an incredible athlete, you know? Because all my heroes at the time were athletes. They were all people that could do what nobody else could do. They were people that had set themselves apart in their achievements, dedicating their lives to being so good at something that they did it better than it had ever been done before, and maybe in a way that it could never be done again. Nobody could knock people out like Mike Tyson. Nobody could make a game-winning, buzzer-beating shot like Jordan. I wanted to be an athlete too. And so I started on my journey. Played that good old European football, played some soccer, right? And quickly realized that that sport wasn't for me, because that sport is 90% running. As a child with asthma, it was ridiculous for me to be out there every Saturday morning fighting for my life. I was furious. At one point, I was talking to the coach. I was like, I gotta run back and forth every time, like the ball never gonna come back this way. And I was on this team. Now, the team that I was on, they did this back in the day. This was huge in, 80s, 90s, 70s, stuff like that, but I don't know how much they do it now. Basically, if there's no team at like the elementary school or something like that, the community will band together and start like a little league, and they'll get different local businesses, like get like a laundromat to pay them some money for some uniforms, and then that's your name to advertise for them. Y'all become the Bubbles or whatever. And then you end up playing other local kids and everything. And so it's just very important that I point out that I didn't make a team. I was on a team somebody made. There's a huge difference. And I think about this one particular year, because there was this one year I was on the team and there was a kid that was good and a kid that was great, right? And the kid that was good, he was good, he was all right. But what I really loved about being on the team with him was that his mom, whenever it was her turn, because every parent took a turn bringing the halftime and post-game snack. Whenever it was her turn, she would pick oranges from the orange tree that they had, slice them up, put them in a bag, bring them to us. They were some of the best oranges I had ever had. So I was always excited when it was her turn. And there was this one particular Saturday where it was not only her turn, but the same parent that brought the halftime and post-game snack led us in the pre-game prayer. This is the Deep South, so we're gonna pray before everything, right? And so we're all in a circle with our heads bowed and everything. And it doesn't take me long to notice that his mom is actively praying against the other team. Like, we all standing there holding hands, heads bowed and everything, but then at one point she's like, and you're in control of all things, Lord, so if you want an ankle to roll, let it roll. I kept my head bowed, but at one point I was like, does anybody else hear this? I don't think that's how you're supposed to pray. And there was one time the adults were talking. So I just, kept to myself. I didn't say anything, but I overheard her being like, oh, I hope he sticks with it. I think he's good enough to get a full ride scholarship. And in my head, I was like, ooh, we're 8. He barely better than me, and I'm not good. You better start saving. Because it's very hard for an 8-year-old to show any sort of athletic prowess, especially in a game like soccer. Because the kids that score goals, all they really have is a basic sense of distance management. They know to kick the ball far enough that they haven't kicked it all the way away from them, but they're also not dribbling all slow. They keep it at a good distance. And then, especially if they're running, they're going towards a goalie who's also 8. They're going towards a goalie who's also 8 years old, and somehow, no matter how much practice he is involved in, is not prepared for this. And so then they kick the ball to the left, the goalie jumps to the right out of panic. And so he scored the goal. It's not impressive, but he scored. There was a kid on our team that was good, but then there was a kid on our team that was great. Truly great. I had never seen anything like it. This kid could pull the ball back, kick it up in the air, jump in the air, kick it in the goal at an angle, come up grass-stained, goal! He was on our team, and sometimes I'd still be upset. One time he did that exact move, and I was like, y'all must be practicing him extra because I didn't see any of those drills last week. And there was this one weekend we had a tournament. Now, a tournament, no matter how much money the parents were willing to try to raise or pay to keep their kids involved in this thing, nobody was willing to pay to bus us around the tri-state area every weekend. So every tournament had to be done in a day. And so if you won, you had to keep playing games until the end of the tournament. So if you won, you just kept playing in the hot Louisiana sun. Winning was a punishment. And there was this one Saturday. We got a kid that's good and a kid that's great, so we've been winning. This is our 3rd game. And the kid who is great has scored 4 goals before the half. That's a lot. All by himself, 4-0. They haven't scored on us at all. And it's not because our defenders were good. Our defenders were trash. I was one of them. And this kid is scoring all the goals, but it's not because he's being a ball hawk. It's just anytime we get the ball, we pass it to him. I wasn't trying to be a hero, mainly because my coach said, don't try to be a hero. In fact, when the ball came to me, I was like, you know what to do with that? And so this kid is zooming down the pitch for his 5th goal. And the defenders on the other team are devastated. The goalie is embarrassed. And as he's coming towards him, one of the defenders sees him coming and just steps out of the way. Steps out of the way, and at the last second puts his foot in the way and pushes him down as hard as he can. And then the defender on the other team, that kid's dad, stands up and goes, let's go, Henry. Let's go, play hard. Which was a huge mistake, because now the dad on our team knows who to hit. So then he got up and started walking across the field through children like traffic. We still playing it. He over here locked in. And he walked up to this other dad. I can't hear what's being said because I'm a defender on the other side of the field, but I see them getting closer and closer. You can tell with the body language that they're both very tense. And then I hear some mumbling, then I hear some yelling, and then the dad from the other team hauls off and pushes our dad. Our dad falls back a little bit, shakes his head, and goes, bah! Right? Now, this is a team full of dirty players and dirty parents, because then parents from the other team tried to jump our dad. But then our dad was like, anybody can get it. Anybody, okay? He started kicking and punching and elbowing and kneeing and headbutting. A few people, I'm pretty sure, were trying to get out the way. And then Henry sees what's happening to his dad and the other parents on the field, and so he starts running down the field. Leave my dad alone! And he runs up behind our dad, climbs him like a little spider monkey, and wraps his arms around his neck. Now, our dad can't hit this kid because he's right behind him, but he can use him to hit everybody else. He started spinning around as hard as he could. Little Henry hanging on. Grown men were catching cleats in the face. And I was just standing there like, that's the most athletic man in the world. That's who I want to be when I grow up. And so I can understand that, you get to the end of a season, and then we all get a trophy. We got one kid on our team that's good, one kid on our team that's great, and then I was looking at my trophy like, all right, y'all could have at least made them different sizes, because I was really just present. I'm not gonna lie to you. You think about that now as an adult, and there are some parts of the concept of a participation trophy that are wild to me, if I'm being honest. Like, who would have thought that the Nobel Peace Prize would basically become this sort of participation trophy? You see this woman handing over her Peace Prize to Trump. Not that peace is a competition, but even if it was, he lost. Oh, it's so crazy. Why? I don't know why he cares about it so much. Obama did get it, didn't he? Obama did get it. That's true. Even holding it, it's like, you don't really believe that one's yours. There's no way. There's no way. I know his brain is soup, but there's no way that he actually believes it works like that. It doesn't even have your name on it. That's like letting your friend hold your diploma and then he thinks he's a lawyer all of a sudden. Like, that's crazy. Not a man of peace at all. See what's going on in our own country. You're willing to go to war with your own people. You know, threatening the Insurrection Act. Man, sometimes irony's annoying.